part of me wanted to connect, but part of me wanted to withdraw. I was really working on mindset and like visualizing and using energy to change things. And the smell, it's just gonna smell really light and fun and easy. And I see this light and sensation. I go through this whole visualization process. I want to talk about the power of your mind and visualizing and seeing things happening and creating with your mind. How many believe you're a creator here to create? Good. How many would like a way, a simple way, to create pretty much any type of relationship or situation or scenario that you would want, even if it's been really crappy, that you would actually create that, yeah? This is a process that does take practice, okay? It is a visualization process, and the more you do it, the better you'll get at it. The key with visualizing is that you want to see it, you want to feel it, you want to hear it, you want to sense it. So see, feel, hear, taste, the sensation of it, expectation of it, the weight of it, the color of it, the scenario or story or action of it. If I want to create something really epic in my life, I want to incorporate all of these pieces in it. There was a time years ago, probably about 5-6 years ago, where my relationship with my wife wasn't exactly what I wanted it to be. And I felt like I was wanting to avoid being around her. And I didn't know why. And I didn't really part of me wanted to connect, but part of me wanted to withdraw. I'd rather go do work, go do business. Anyone ever been there where it's like, hey, I'd rather go do work and business than to confront relationship stuff? Yeah, it's easier sometimes. We're like, that's something I'm good at. And I was in that point where I had that choice. And I had studied some things. I was really working on mindset and like visualizing and using energy to change things. And I was like, okay, I'm going to practice this thing and see how it works. So what I did is my wife was in our room, and I was on the outside, and I was fixing to go into the room, but I was like, wait, I'm going to do this process and test it out. And so I did. And I spent 10 minutes or so going through this visualization process. I visualized, I did it. I'm going to teach it to you here in a moment. And I went through this experience where I just saw it and the expectation and the weight of it. And I saw her and I thought, okay, I'm going to go into the room. I'm going to connect with her. I'm going to feel really heard and understood. And I want to be able to ask the questions where I can, when I ask her and I communicate and I see her eyes, instead of feeling like I want to withdraw, I'm going to feel like I'm getting closer to her. And I'm going to feel like when I ask her like how she's feeling, I'm just going to listen. I'm going to not try to solve anything. And I'm going to feel on my shoulders like this ease and not a heaviness, not a force. We see the color and I see her eye color and I see all these shapes and sizes and everything around. I see the room and the smell. It's just going to smell really light and fun and easy. And I see this light and sensation. I go through this whole visualization process. And by the time I'm done, I just have this really excitement to go into the room. And I go into the room and I'm like, hey, honey, how are you? And she like blows up. And everything I visualized was just thrown out the door. I was like, crap, like this thing doesn't work. I was like, so I had this moment of like freak out. I was like, well, this sucks. Like, I thought we were supposed to have this like amazing connection, you know, and she was like, immediately, like trigger, like boom. I was like, no. And then I thought, wait, hold back to the vision. Like, what was it? And I stopped, and instead of reacting how I would have, I held to the vision of what I saw. And I changed how I asked her the questions. And what happened was even better than I visualized. Even better. So there's a principle here. When you set your sight on something new and you hold to that, there will always be a test before it happens and a trigger. There will always be a test and a trigger. So if I set this visualization process I'm going to teach you, and you're like, I see it's all flowers and gold and happiness and love and excitement and everything's great, and I have this expectation, guess what's going to happen next? So the first step is to see it and visualize it The next step, if this was in order, the next step would be the test and trigger. This is the next piece. It's actually part of getting there. So I've got to see it and hold to it and really dive deep and believe it with all of my soul. Then I've got to be willing to confront the trigger and the test that's holding my old self in my old reality. And I've got to be willing to let go of that. The test and the trigger. Once you pass that test and the trigger, then you get the new result. If you don't, so if you rise above, so if you actually work through this and hold to it, you'll get the good result. If you don't, you'll still get a result, but it'll be a worse result. It's going to drop you down lower. And you'll be like, darn. And then you'll drop your expectation. You'll not believe in anything. You'll start to drop lower and lower and lower. So it was really cool when this happened to me because it taught me a lot. I had this expectation and then the test happened and I held on to that expectation. I said, no, this is not what I envisioned. This is not what I saw. So I am going to do whatever it takes to create what I saw. And it turned out to be, I needed to follow the thread, ask her questions, seek for understanding. And once that happened, I can still remember that feeling today of level of intimacy and connection that I had with my spouse. It was amazing, especially because we were so disconnected at that time. And then boom, it was like everything came back. So in order to visualize something, because I think we need more practice visualizing as in humanity and holding to a vision. As an entrepreneur, this is an important piece. If you're not good at visualizing and seeing, I used to suck at visualizations. I couldn't hold a vision in my mind for like a second. I couldn't see imagery. I had all that. I was like one of those who was like, I don't see anything in my brain. Well, that was me. So some of you are going to take some skills. You got to practice it. Everybody has the ability to do so. Because what is it? It's just an energy and a pattern and an energy. So if some of you are like, I can't see things. Well, that's an energy. That's a vibration and a pattern. You can change it. If you're like, hey, it's really hard for me to visualize. That's an energy. That's a pattern. You can change it. Okay? I've been there and I know. And I've believed that long enough to know that it's not true. Okay? You can change it. You can shift it. So let's say you want to have a good relationship. Find somebody that you want to improve a relationship with. One person. So I want you to, normally you have this old story of your interaction with them. Some of it's not ideal. So you're going to just give yourself permission to pretend. This is pretending. Okay? We're just pretending here. Not based on your past perceptions, not based on your past reality or disconnections. This is a new open slate to pretend. Okay? So we're pretending. And to pretend, I want you to see, when I say see something, I want you to imagine when you're visualizing, the more things you can evoke, the better. So let's say I'm going to see me with that person in the same room. I want you to do that right now. Just see yourself with that person in a room together. Now, while you're there, I want you to take notice of what's around the room. This is going to be some brain work for some of you, because some of you haven't visualized ever, other than crappy things. So we're going to really work a brain muscle that might not be used for some of you. And that's okay. Just let it happen and struggle with it. The more you struggle, the faster it'll grow. So I want you to see yourself in the room with that person. I want you to take note of your surroundings. What's on the wall? What's on the floor? What's around them? What objects? I want you to see it in color. Imagine there were some colors there. See the different colors. Now, as you're with this person and you see all these pieces and see all the stuff and surroundings around them, I want you to take note of how you feel. Really allow yourself to feel how you want. Feel the joy of just being there with them in their ideal self. Feel what it's like to have a really positive interaction. But beyond just the emotion of the feeling, I want you to feel the weight of your shoulders and your body. Feel how you are right there with them. Take note of your body posture, how it feels to be with them in that place. Take note of your breath. How are you breathing? And I want you to notice what an ideal breath would feel like when you're with them. How calm it would be, the joy that you might experience. And maybe there's a little bit of a smell in the room. What do they smell like? What does the room smell like? Allow yourself to pick up a scent that is pleasant. And as you're in this state, I want you to just take note of the senses around you, the expectations. I want you just to have an expectation of great things to happen. Just by you being there with them, only good comes from this interaction. In fact, phenomenal comes from this interaction. I want you just to paint a little bit of action into this interaction. I want you to connect with them. Maybe point out something you like about them, see a smile on their face when you do, and continue that action. Improve that interaction, make it even bigger. Take that step to the next level. What else do you do with that person? Maybe you're having good words with them. It's back and forth. You both feel heard and understood. It's a deep sense, this weight on your shoulders. You can feel the realness of it in your body as you're there, the smell. You hear what's going on. Do you hear any noises in the room? Do you hear their voice? Maybe a tick of a clock. Good. Okay, go ahead and open your eyes. So I just want you to take note. How did you feel going through that simple exercise? Some of you might have been hard, some of you might have been easy. But the goal here is to evoke more of your senses when you're visualizing and to see it and the actions along the way and continue those feelings and emotions with the actions. Some of us will turn off certain senses when we focus on another piece. The goal is to evoke them all continuously. It will become more and more real and vibrant, and it'll also evoke more triggers in you. Okay, that's a good thing. So you want to bring that stuff up to work through it, but practice it. Set your mindset of like, hey, I want to do this. I want to get better at it. Okay. So this is something if you did daily, consistently, you would get really good at it. You could get phenomenal at it to where you could see an interaction with the person. Now you could do this with a client. So I do this with my event. So I've already visualized how the event will work, all your interactions, the amazingness, how it's going to be, everything. I do this with my events. I do this with my clients when I'm enrolling clients. I see it before we get on. They're already working with me. They're already getting the results because I see it before they do. And you have to start to create an eye of faith, which is seeing something before it actually happens. What is faith? Faith is knowing in something that you cannot see, but you know is real. So if you want to improve your faith, get better at visualizing and seeing stuff. And that might be through speaking. It might be through writing. I've had to draw stuff. Back when I first started, I couldn't even because I couldn't speak it back then when I first started. So I drew it. And I would literally draw pictures, no joke, like of me speaking in front of groups and people like, they were horrible pictures. It was like this stuff. But it was a picture that represented what I was trying to articulate in a very, a very Tyler kindergarten way. So it doesn't have to be perfect. Like if I can do it, you can do it. That should be inspiring to you. So it's like, oh, if he can do it, and all you do is got to draw some lines and some things. Anybody can do this. So you don't have to visualize perfect, but you do have to do it and do it consistently with that emotion, that feeling. Okay? Anybody can evoke feelings and thoughts. Anybody. Hey, what's up? I hope you enjoyed this video. If you'd like to join us live on a 3-day virtual event to implement what you just learned, then check out the description, click the link, and check out when that next virtual event is coming up. We go live on there. You get to actually experience what you just learned. And the best way to learn is through immersion. So check it out. I look forward to seeing you there and have an incredible, phenomenal, amazing rest of your day. Was it me? No, it was each and every one of you. So we all chose to do that. No one forced you. No one made you. You chose, which is freaking awesome.